go ahead and recap.
Okay. We started last session by we were continuing from camp from our long rest onto Creekside Village. Along the way, we talked to the druid, I think is what we kind of retconned in or whatever, because, yeah. And we got some answers to a few things. Yeah, I mean, shit happens. Big deal. We got some information on some things, which I unfortunately forgot to write down because they were in a chat. But, yeah, I'm sure those will come up later. I guess the more important thing is that along the way, we got propositioned, I guess is the word, by a horrific being who talked in our minds for some help regarding a situation at his manor.
It was not a sexy proposition.
Well, I guess it depends what you're into. It
could have been.
Yeah. I'll let Homer take it from there.
Yeah. He brought us to his house where he'd been having a party, and we had to check all our gear and weapons at the front door, 'cause it's a fancy affair. They gave us fancy clothes, and it turns out it was someone had been murdered. It's sort of a murder mystery situation that we had to solve by looking around, asking questions to lots of people. There were many colorful characters. I'm not gonna list all of them, but we found out a bunch of stuff about the victim had a pinhole and a scale had been popped out. It was probably poisoned. Bunch of other stuff. And then we met Tropos, who's not Tropos, because Tropos is dead. And he needed our help in terms of he didn't commit the murder, but he was not supposed to be there, and he was afraid of getting found out. But he didn't, and he had some help for us, but not all the help. We still had to solve the mystery, so we put him in a bag. We put him in the hole, and continued on trying to solve the mystery. I'll pass it on.
Who's next?
Oh, that's weird. There's not someone before me now.
There are two people before you. What are you talking about?
There's supposed to be three. So one working theory we had was the elusive pasta gun, because in one of the rooms something similar to a wet noodle was found. That theory was quickly thrown out.
I wouldn't say quickly. That's a relative term.
Quickly thrown out by everyone else but me. After some intense interrogation with some colorful guests to this manor, we did end up kind of narrowing things down after, what was it? The hag gave some information about many worms attacking her, and then
1,000 fingers.
Yeah, which we then surmised meant worms. And then the Durgar said that his surgeon tools were stolen at some point. There was a point where the Illithid who owns the house led me into the secret lower level that no one else knows about, where a patch of cloth was found as well, distinct in color, and we used all that to narrow down our guess to the Starspawn mage.
Me next?
I would assume so.
Okay, so we just to point out that all of the guests at the manor are all creatures that we would consider to be pretty evil, but also of, high intelligence. So it's a very, very dangerous situation. And normally these creatures would be attacking each other and us, but they're not, because the manor has a spell or bind over it that prevents them from harming each other, bringing in any weapons or anything like that. So we're relatively safe. So long as we don't attack anyone, then we can't really be harmed or anything like that because of the protective wards on the manor. So at the end of the session, we called everybody into the library for the big reveal, and we put forth that the Starspawn mage was the one who stole the surgeon's tools, stole the female drow's poison kit, snuck up and poisoned the victim through the aquarium tank, and then dragged them down into the wine cellar to quote unquote hide the body. And that's pretty much where we left off. It has not yet been revealed whether or not our accusation was correct, but we eagerly await the judgment of our host.
Is that it? We're leaving off there?
Evil, but the beholder was very polite and nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the
Yep.
beholder was quite friendly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, if that's where if that's where the recap ends, and for the record, yes, Pause the Druid did show up, blah, 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 that all happened. All of that chat is in the D&D group, so if anybody needs to reference it, it's in there. But
I
otherwise,
guess
should
quick
be
summary for the good of the stream.
Sure.
We asked about why the dead were still walking around. It turns out that the Death Singer, which we had information on from a much earlier session because we passed through his domain, has gone missing, and therefore can't put the dead to rest. Finally, we asked if the soul trap was still safe. We got a confirmation that it was. I feel like there was one more thing we had asked that was kind of important, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
I think we had asked about the witch hag who had been attacking pixies and Silent Suns.
Oh, and right, he said to go to Creekside to get some more information about that.
We also asked about the serpent, but he didn't have
Yeah, he didn't know.
much information.
That is true.
Okay. Well then, last time on Dragon Ball Z, the accusation was made, and I gave everybody a nice little cliffhanger to wonder and think about. So,
For 3 weeks.
yeah, well, so as we sidle back into the library and the accusation has just been laid, the host steeples his fingers together and looks each of you over coolly as one of his tentacles strokes another, just as if in thought. He nods, snaps his fingers, points at the star spawn, and what you see is a golden rent just appear just behind the star spawn, just like almost like a portal or a gate. And beneath it is a shining bright light of blue, and you can see all of the members of the party themselves suddenly, cower and shield themselves from the light itself, as the star spawn appears to be sucked inside. For the briefest moment before it closes, you get a glimpse of what appears to be just like flowing grass fields, crystal blue waters in the background, and several ivory buildings way in the backdrop. And then it snaps shut. And the host turns to each of you and bows, and suddenly you find yourself standing at the entrance of the manor itself, once again, with several unseen servants holding bundles. The host's voice, enters your minds once again, and he would like to, he basically says that he wants to thank you for your assistance, and that your, I guess, gift compensation is forthcoming, and he would like to know where you want to be dropped off.
No.
Uh,
Or rather, he wishes to return you to where you were, and I believe somebody had mentioned they wanted to ask if they could go elsewhere.
Right. He said if it was within his power. I
Right.
think as a group we decided we did want to try and shortcut to Treetop.
Well, did we want to go to Treetop or did we want to go to Creekside and look into the Death Singer and the Hag a little bit more?
What does Creekside have to do with the Death Singer?
Because the Death Singer's domain was all the way by Red Shore.
Okay, well, never mind then.
Creekside would be if we want to go investigate the hag more, which is potentially the hag we ran into here.
Mm-hmm. I have a feeling it is or tangentially
Yeah.
related somehow.
And our motive for doing that would have been to try and gain a relic for Red Shore, which we've already sorted out.
Okay, so Treetop it is then.
Yeah, I'm okay with this.
Yep. That works.
So the group is asking the host if he can transport you to Treetop. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But before
Or
we
maybe not in the town center, maybe like on
Right.
the edges of the village so that we're not terrifying everyone by just dropping it out of space.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I agree.
I'm assuming we do collect our bundles from the unseen servants.
I would hope so.
Yeah, I'd very much like my things.
Yes.
Okay. So what you also may have noticed is that Tropos, or Zeph, as you eventually came to know him, in the moment of the flash of light, was grabbed by his Gith commander and pulled to the side, and as such, he was unable to journey with you. So that wraps that up nicely. But yeah, no, it's so he bows and seems to gesture as though if you simply exit the premises, that you will find yourselves where you intend to be.
I do want to ask one more thing before we go.
Okay.
I'm going to pull out the Vanta Black ring
Mm-hmm.
from the bundle and ask if he knows anything regarding this item, as it seems to be something from a time long ago, and its magic is a mystery to me.
While an illithid is incapable of smiling, you get the distinct impression in your mind that that's exactly what he's doing, if he could. But he shakes his head no and says that it's unfamiliar to him.
Well, then I will thank him for his time.
Mhm.
And did he give us the item that he promised us?
Yes. What happened to my taskbar? What the hell? Is there a button? Oh, wait, no. Is there an F key that makes the taskbar disappear behind Firefox?
I don't know.
Let me open up my OneNote and make sure that I'm giving you the right thing. Guest list ripped. Oh, yes. He hands you the brass bottle as he gestures farewell. So whoever takes that.
I suppose I'm closest because I was asking a question.
Sure.
Yep.
So it's a beautifully painted brass bottle.
All right, we will go and look at that later then.
Okay.
We're all on our way then?
I suppose so.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So as you take your steps, your first steps away from the manor itself, the trees of the forest, at first unfamiliar, begin almost like in an alien nature shift and sway just slightly. And if you turn to look over your shoulder behind you, you'll find that it is no longer there. And turning back again to look forward, you see that the forest in front of you is quite different from the one that was there just moments ago. You find yourselves in sparse woods in what looks to have been an old battlefield of some sort. There's a ruined fort nearby, a muddy pond, several rotted instruments of war and you can only hope that you've been dropped off near or close to Treetop Village. To the east, you can make out what looks to be a much denser section of the forest.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad we made it out of there alive.
I think I'll ask Beldam which way north is.
I will point in a direction which is uncannily north.
Nice.
Excellent.
I guess no one else is disappointed that we didn't get to have sexy times with like the succubi and incubi that were there. Is that just me?
Gonna
good.
give a Petalin a strange look.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just me then. I'll,
Yeah. Okay. So I'll take out the map, and just looking at it quickly, I can tell that if no matter what, if we just go north from wherever we are, we'll at least probably hit coast, and then we could follow it to Treetop. If we are in fact where we trust the Illithid would have left us near Treetop.
but what if we're
North of Treetop?
what if we're east of Treetop already? If we follow the coast east, we'll just be going farther away.
Why would we follow it east, though, if we go north?
Because that's where we're going to run into the coast. And I'm assuming that you're thinking to go east towards
Well,
Treetop.
if we go and hit the coast, we could get our bearings because we should be able to, well, depending on the accuracy
Yeah,
of this
it all
map,
depends.
see a bit of the peninsula that's sticking out further east.
Yeah.
Oh, okie dokie. Seems
Or
a
like
plan.
we could find paths or something. We could do survivalist stuff to find our
So-
way.
So
yeah.
this is kind of like a clearing that we're in.
Give me a moment. In fact, do me a favor. Give me a perception check.
All right.
What do I do? Why can't I? Come on, roll 20.
Is it acting up again?
Well, I don't know if they did an update or what, but some stuff that definitely shouldn't be is.
Hmm.
Just all the more reason for the eventual switch to Fantasy Grounds, but stuff on the wrong layer. Okay. I need 2 more perception checks.
Oh, okay.
Oh, was this from everyone?
Yeah, I was looking at
Yes.
my map. I wasn't looking around, but I guess I...
Sure. I mean, I can always just say you had disadvantage, but
Sure.
all right. That's correct. That's where it's supposed to be. That's where it's supposed to be. I made this map 3 weeks ago, and now Roll20's acting funny. Okay. All right. So, Petalin and Egg, as you're peering out over what this old battlefield appears to have been. Egg, do you have night vision?
I think I have that ring.
You do have the ring.
Okay. So, did
So,
I
I do not.
update your tokens? No.
I do know.
No.
Okay. So I need to 0, 0, or blank, blank, and then
Oh, my token art didn't
There.
update.
no, they're 2 separate things, and it's because I have your default token set. So I'll have to get your I'll have to get that art from you, and then I can make it your default token. Make sense?
Yep, I gotcha.
Okay. Why is that not working like it's supposed to? Edit. Dang it, Roll20, why? Why do you do this? This is why we're switching.
Yep.
And then I gotta change Udinar as well. Give me a moment while I fight the system. Remove your default token. Yes. Save. Done. Okay.
After I do that, do you mind if I take a candle out for
Yeah,
myself?
go. I mean,
Cool.
I never mind if you use
Well,
the
I
tools
just-
that are available to you.
I just want to make sure that you aren't doing something where it'll get in the way.
No. I was just updating your tokens and making sure the correct light levels were there. So, Petalin and Egg, as you're standing on this this old dirt trail, you notice what looks to be like right next to Bellum and Unar, an old like catapult or trebuchet missile, like a carved round-ish piece of stone. You can see just ahead of you what looks like some crumbled ruin, and then off to the north, you see what looks to be like another pathway. And then to the east, Petalin and I believe Egg. No, just maybe hints of what sounds like movement, though it's a very like almost like bones rattling together.
I'll relay all of that information to the group about the bones rattling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you do that, I'll do my thing. I'm just looking for it. There's so many things to click now.
Within 60 feet of you.
Yep.
Yes, you sense a single undead.
It's probably more of the same that we've seen in the forest recently.
Indeed.
All the dead things wandering around. Well, we need to pick a direction to go in towards Treetop. I think we were all in agreement that we were going to try to go north,
No,
like going straight
seems like our
ahead.
best bet.
or we can follow this trail to the east towards the creepy sound and see if there's anything more to this kind of rotted battlefield kind of area.
Well, battlefield usually means corpses, and do we want to take our chances with more undead?
Okay, so I think the major vote is going north.
So it's nighttime right now?
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering
You
if
guys
we
never
should...
you guys never finished your rest.
I guess we should try to finish our rest, huh?
Well, yeah, we should probably try to finish, or like find a place to camp at least. When you were giving the description, Wolf, you said something about like a broken down, like stronghold or something of some sort. Maybe like an outpost or something.
Yeah, like off to the north.
Is that where this kind of rubble is up here?
I don't know what you. Hold on, I'm trying to update this token.
Oh, is that the new?
HP. Yeah. AC and spell save. Spell save. Spell save. Not spell save bonus, spell save DC. Thank you. And then 60 minus 5 has sight. Changes. That's gone. And then set default token. Edit. Remove default token. Set selected. Save. Done. Okay, you're done. All right.
Nice.
Nice.
So ping what you wanted to ping.
Up here?
I mean, I can't tell you any more than what you can see. I gave kind of a very brief description of things that you had passed moving up to this point.
Right, gotcha. Okay.
So you could head back to one of the little ruined forts that you had passed, because you guys maybe walked, I don't know, a few hundred yards to get here.
Through the woods.
Yeah, to your
From
west.
the manor.
Like
To-
west and south.
That's what I'm thinking is we go to one of those ruined forts and at least use that as some sort of cover for a camp.
I think that's a good idea. And then we can finish our rest and maybe when daylight rolls around, pick a direction to go in.
Yeah,
Okay.
not too keen about traveling at night.
Okay. So you guys want to head back to one of those little ruined forts?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, give me 1 second. Oh, why is my default search engine Yahoo? Because I had to switch to Firefox because Roll20 is not working in Chrome now.
I didn't realize it was 1999 again.
Yeah.
Ugh, no, Chrome, please. Oh, they're mostly the same images. Good job, Yahoo. Proud of you.
Hey, they've been around for a while.
It would be funny
Yeah.
if they just linked to the Google results.
You know, maybe they do. Yeah, this will, well, one of these will work. I'll just have it for next time. So we'll just use our campsite. Okay,
Cool.
so you guys head back in with very little trouble, plodding your way through the forest. You come across that little ruined tower and I suppose take cover inside. It is definitely an old stone fort, and despite having been through this area at least once before, Udanar, you don't necessarily recognize it.
Mhm.
So inside you see that it is mostly picked barren. Most likely other factors or just scavengers have been through here before and probably cleaned up anything of value. In fact, there's not even any cloth inside. It is just bare stone. And you may have noticed over the last few weeks that the night air is getting a little bit cooler as you move towards fall. But otherwise, it appears to be at least somewhat stable and could serve as a camp.
General questions about it. Is there only the one entrance that we came in through?
It's like a completely ruined section of wall that you walk in through.
Okay.
I'm not sure how to, without having a picture of like a little ruined tower.
So it's
Right,
not a room with like walls and a roof. It's like a section of wall and some stone flooring, and that's it.
And like a little bit of ceiling that, like, as the tower goes upward.
Like on
Actually,
one
you know what?
corner.
This, other than not being in the forest, would be perfect. So let me just upload it real quick, like. Save image. Scenes, tower, save. Scenes, tower, open. Oh, that's not even the right one. Where'd it go? There. Yes, already exists. Did it upload? Roll20. Okay. All right. That there.
Oh,
Let's make
nice.
that
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
Only in the woods.
Right.
And no yak.
Yes, no yak.
Very nice. Is there any reason to believe the integrity of the place would come down on us while sleeping or anything? Like, it seems pretty sturdy still, even though it's ruins.
Anybody have any experience with stonework?
Nope.
No.
So it'll do just fine. Perfect.
Okay.
Are we good with lighting a little fire here on the stone floor? Well,
Hmm.
I guess
Okay.
it's a little dark and we don't want to have to go out and collect firewood, so we could just go ahead and finish our rest here.
Yeah.
Check that shit out.
Nice.
Yo, it's pretty dope though.
Yeah, let's go with that.
I see the hole in the wall and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
And there's no yak.
And no yak.
More importantly,
It's a nice little hole in the wall.
Yeah.
My favorite kind of place.
So it has been a while. Where did we leave off in the rest?
Oh, you're gonna have to start over. It's been over
Yeah.
an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this would be a freshen.
Okay.
I don't think we were that far in. I think I had first watch anyway, and we were interrupted during that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's still very early into the night itself.
Right.
Which anybody who wants to kind of track that kind of thing, you can always roll survival, and I can give you an estimate of what time it might be in relation to like the two majors of noon and midnight. Pedalin, with your excellent sense of the passage of time and knowledge of the stars, having spent many an evening outside and perhaps having some weird latent connection to them, you're pretty sure that it's still a few hours to midnight.
Okay, so we got plenty of time to
Yeah.
take a long rest through the night.
Or a couple of hours to midnight.
Right.
Mhm. Okay.
So, who wants to take first watch this time?
And how are you setting up camp?
I think we're avoiding a fire to not draw attention to ourselves.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Does the group have winter accessories?
I don't think we do.
Okay, that's fine. It's not
We
winter yet, but it
we-
is some. So this is something that most GMs don't bother with, but I think that the environment is just as much as challenge as any monster. So as I mentioned, it's starting to get cooler. It's definitely something to consider if you're not going to be lighting fires at night.
Right. Okay.
Gotcha.
Did we keep the fancy clothes?
It seems so.
Nice.
I did not change.
Well, I'm for one, I'm going to change back into my sturdy traveler's clothes and keep the fancy clothes in my pack. I will also take
Yeah.
first watch since no one else is volunteering, and I will spend.
Well, I was in the middle of something with my watch,
All right. Well,
so I'd like to finish that up.
okie dokie.
Okay.
I'll take second.
Okay.
I'll take third.
Yeah.
All right.
I would like fourth.
That would make Noodles clean up. All right. Okay, Madam Beldam, walk me through your watch.
I'm gonna luck point that, and I've got a package that I need to go sign for real quick.
Okay. So, Madam Beldam does watch things, and I suppose I will let Rumble mechanically handle what he needs to mechanically handle when he gets back. Let's move on to watch number 2. So,
Do I
Madam
need to
Beldam.
roll perception again, or
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to figure out what you meant by again. Okay. So, anything you do on your watch?
not really. I guess I'll just kind of keep towards the edge of the hole in the wall
Mm-hmm.
and
All right, sorry
listen to
about that.
Sorry.
see if I can hear those bones rattling or anything like that going on.
Anything mechanically you wanted to take care of, Rumble, just go ahead and do that.
Okay.
If it was something you needed to roll for, let me know. But otherwise, we went ahead and just jumped ahead because nothing major happened during your watch.
Yeah, it's a shame. Waste of a nat 20.
Yep. Okay. Much the same for you, Pedalin. The thing that stands out to you the most is the stark drop in temperature that in rapid contrast to the daylight warmth. Especially here where you can assume you are further north. It is noticeably cooler at night than it was in the mountains, at least at the low section of the mountains themselves. Very little sounds of wildlife, mostly quiet, a very clear sky, and the occasional interruption as somebody fights a snore. But otherwise uneventful. Next watch. Fascinated by the stonework of the tower, you find yourselves mostly paying attention to the insides and hoping that the shelf of stone above you doesn't fall and crush anybody beneath throughout the duration. At one point, you're pretty sure some sort of tree climbing vermin hops onto the stone itself, and several pieces of like several pebbles rain down from above. Thankfully, not interrupting anybody, but definitely giving you cause for alarm as you just didn't notice.
Definitely have reasons to be anxious about walls falling on people.
Yes. Otherwise, largely uneventful. The night is calm and quiet. The sky is empty. Final watch. Udanar. Anything special on your watch?
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, so I start off my watch, like, I slept through those watches very well. So I'm going to actually start getting ready, like putting on my heavy armor and just kind of getting everything set up. And I'll be wearing the fine clothes from now on as well as just a thing. Yeah, I'm going to do some meditating and prayer. I want to kind of just close my eyes and just start rolling the coin kind of back and forth in between my hands, just kind of almost like getting a momentum started with it or something, or like rolling dice or something like somebody would at Vegas.
Sure.
And just I'm basically concentrating very hard on the Death Singer and recognizing that term and name. I just kind of want to see if I can glean any information from maybe a higher power.
Run that last sentence by me again. I cut out really bad on Roll20 and just got to fast forward.
Okay. Okay. I just want to glean some
I
information
got
from a deity about some information about the Death Singer.
Okay. So you're looking for a specific response?
I guess I just want to clarify, is that who I think it is?
Okay.
I've heard this
So
name
you
before.
Sure. So you spin the coin and it lands on wheat. And in frustration, you spin the coin again and it spins for a little while and it lands on wheat. And you're like,
yeah.
Okay, this is real funny, guys. You spin the coin again and it spins and spins and spins and spins and spins. And then finally it lands on the lily. And you get a very peaked yes. Udunoi?
The one known as the Death Singer apparently has left his region. Do you know anything of this?
There's a long silent pause, and like it's an audible silence. It's not like there's just no response, but like your head is void of any sound. And the voice comes back. Curious. This creature we are aware of, though I cannot seem to sense its presence. You, out of curiosity, were wondering if it is the creature that you knew previously. I wouldn't know how to answer that. While we had our eyes on you for a long time, it wasn't as though we were constantly surveilling or monitoring what you did, what you said, or who you interacted with. We do not know what you know.
What guidance can you give me in finding more information?
Well, I'm not sure if you gleaned this, but we can't sense the creature. So the guidance we can offer you is that of blind luck, but it would seem that, as I'm sure you're aware, Ole Damara is no longer with us. So pray to whom you will. Good luck and hope that somebody answers.
This frustrates me a little bit. Okay. I mean, other than that, I will, when dawn starts breaking, I will actually start doing some, like, when there's enough light that I can see almost in, like, a low light situation outside, because I don't have dark vision anymore, I will start doing, like, a small round around the base of, our little camp, and just maybe, like, 10 to 20 yards.
Sure. So you climb your way out of the tower, just like that pile of rubble, easy to go up and down. So as you climb out and you look around, you see the sparse woods. You can see that pathway that leads to the east and north that you had trekked on last night, just ahead of you, with the small stream trickling in front of you. Do you want to climb the hill and take a look out over that old battlefield, or just kind of want to stick close?
How much light is there at this moment? Would I be able to see something on the horizon line?
Let's say the sun is peaking and it's lit enough that you would be able to make out a fairly good distance.
Yeah, I will do that.
Okay. So you head out over the hill, which is probably a good 30, 40 yards away, and take a look. And what you see, it looks like a couple of trails lead out from the woods from where you were. There is yet another ruined tower up ahead as well, more to the north. A large stone sits in the center of the field, and what looks like a muddy gray pond off to the far east. You can see several rotted and ruined ballista, even more of the trebuchet or catapult ammunition that had landed nearby. Trenches that had been dug by soldiers long dead. But what strikes you as most intriguing are that the dead themselves seem to be wandering the battlefield. Several groups of skeletal warriors stand bedecked in old, rusted armor. Some of them patrolling, some of them almost as though going through the motions that they had gone through before they passed. There are even a pair of specters that seem to be walking down up and down the pathway itself. Nothing seems to notice you as you're just peeking over the hilltop.
Okay, I make a mental note of all of this, and I guess I start slowly making my way back.
Oh, hold on. I wasn't quite finished yet. I just wanted to give you that information, give you a chance to respond.
Okay.
Past the battlefield itself, you can see that there is the forest itself begins to thicken and grow dense once again, and you can see the trees getting taller and taller and taller, heading that direction. And from your memory, you recall that Treetop was built among the tallest trees of the region, and as such, you can assume that you have landed somewhere west of Treetop.
Okay.
Now you can head back.
Yep, and I will do so.
Okay. If you take your path around the other side, the west side of the tower, like going northwest and south, you'll notice that it's just, a very lightly sparsed woods, very few creatures stirring even at dawn, which strikes you as odd, but perhaps not so odd given what you've experienced over the last 4 or 5 days. Otherwise, you get the feeling that it is indeed time to wake somebody. However, as you head back to the tower itself, just out of the corner of your eye, you spot what looks to be a strange creature hiding behind a tree with its eyes boring into you. You don't get a good look because as you turn to face it fully, it disappears.
Okay. I didn't get enough of a look to try to recognize what it might be, huh?
It's quadrupedal and
Okay.
faintly blue.
Okay. I will go back in and start lightly saying it's time to get up basically, and Not like forcefully waking anybody, just kind of letting them awake to me talking.
Egg
Okay.
offers everyone a hearty breakfast of boar's meat.
Good morning.
So
Boar meat?
Please,
Holding
thank you.
up everyone's face as they wake up.
and here. Mm, 2, 3, 4, 5. So your good berry bush has sprouted 15 good berries this morning.
Pretty good. Okay, so we're having breakfast then.
Are the old good berries that I had gone?
They have rotted.
Okay.
I'm going to skip the boar's meat and ask for a good berry so I can use the breakfast time to ritual cast identify on the item we got from the illithid.
All right. I throw her a good berry.
Okay.
Cool. I will join you for breakfast.
The item received from the illithid appears to be an Ifriti bottle. That's in the compendium. Are you waiting for me to tell you what that is?
No, I'm looking it up.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm writing stuff, which is why I'm taking such long breaks. Okay.
Fucking what? Okay, this can be good or bad. And my landlord decided it's time to mow. So I
Yeah,
don't know
I
if
hear
it's
it.
the background.
So, having breakfast, I'll start off with some little talk, just saying, so our watches seem to have went well, kind of like seeing if anybody had anything to report back from theirs.
Doesn't
I don't
seem
know,
so.
my watch is very hazy.
Yeah, fair enough. I went up the hill to survey where we were. It's a good thing we didn't continue traveling. It looks like the remnants of a battlefield, all the undead, or with all the soldiers that were likely killed walking around.
Sounds right.
Yeah. It's odd, because there wasn't much else stirring, except for another creature I only caught in the corner of my eye. Faintly blue. Disappeared before I could get a good look at it.
Was it a
Odd.
squirrel?
A blue squirrel.
Yeah.
About the size of maybe a large dog or maybe a little bit bigger.
About the size of a large dog, maybe a little bigger.
Yeah, so squirrel. Got it.
I
don't
certainly
think I've
hope
ever
not.
seen a squirrel that big.
I'll just relay to them the information of the large stone in the middle with a muddy pond, some ruined munitions of war like ballistas and blah blah blah, scattering the field and trenches and all that sort of stuff as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But on the plus side, looking up ahead, Treetop would be built in the high trees that is very obviously on the other side of that field.
Your guess is maybe half a day's walk away.
Maybe half a day's walk away.
Oh, good. Not far at all, then. We could maybe make it by lunchtime.
Indeed. There is the fact that of the undead. They didn't seem to pose much of a threat, but frankly, they didn't seem to really do much at all except wander around aimlessly, pretending like they were alive. Still should be considered a threat, most likely.
Are you suggesting that we don't just walk straight through towards the tall trees, but maybe try to go around?
I'm suggesting we at least have the discussion.
We should make sure they're still there first. Maybe they left. Or
I-
took a nap.
I look at him. It's hard to take a nap when the one that sings the death to sleep is gone.
Uh-huh. The sun's out. You never know.
Yep, sun's out, guns out.
Exactly.
What's a gun?
Have
Yeah.
we
Muscles.
noticed
Our
An
the
muscles.
anachronism.
undead? Have we noticed the undead during our travels, like during the day?
Yes. But I
Mhm.
mean, you guys
Okay.
haven't, yeah, like pretty much through across your entire travel, it's
Mhm.
not just at night, it's constantly. Anything that was dead is stirring.
Mm-hmm.
Just so happens that we tend to stop and talk at night.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Also, mechanically, I have stuff back, right? The long rest is
Yep.
completed?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, long
Yeah.
rest completed.
Cool. All right. Okay. So I've relayed the information for the day. What do we think we should do?
I think maybe you're right that we should maybe skirt the edges of the battlefield, because if the dead are moving around and they seem to think that they're still soldiers, they might still attack us. So caution would probably be wise.
I did see another
With-
tower much like this one. There might be something in it that we could, if we were a little more adventurous, take a look on the way. But
Sure.
it might be in
Yes.
harm's way.
You guys head up the hill? Or are you still talking?
Oh, we're talking.
Oh, we
Sorry.
were still talking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good for going checking out the other tower and then skirting around the battlefield. With Treetop so close, we have the time to do it today.
Mhm.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay, so we ready to set out, or Madam, are you still working on stuff?
Well, I've kind of just been staring at this item. It's quite a gamble, but it could be
What's it called again?
huge. The Afridi bottle. So there's a small chance that we get 3 wishes.
And the large chance?
It meanders for an hour. And then another small chance that it attacks us.
What? If it attacks us, what are our chances of survival?
Hmm,
High, low?
I guess I would-
considering-
I would have
yeah.
to do an intelligence check to see if I know what Afridi are.
Correct. I think you probably do. Let me tell you what you know. Monster list, not magic item. It would be quite a challenge. You know that they are creatures from another plane, inhabited, rather resistant, or perhaps rather commonly inhabited by fire. So they are very familiar with flames and don't mind them so much, and are quite magically capable.
On a scale of goblin to demon creature from your eye, I think we're leaning closer to the latter.
So maybe
Oh, good.
maybe we put that away for now and give it a think before we try to do anything with it.
In terms of magical potential, though, this would be a very strong conduit.
Indeed.
Good to know.
Or
Or a good bargaining
we
chip.
could get 3 wishes.
If we have something to wish for sure.
We could bring Chain back.
It's
You
not even
could.
funny.
speaking of, should we finally put him to rest?
What do you mean? Oh, you mean bury him?
No, burn the body, considering the recent
Oh.
Yeah,
events
you
in
don't
the
want to
area.
bury him next to the battlefield of the undead, probably.
I mean, also Paws recommended something
Yeah.
similar.
Uh-huh.
Well, I know it might be a little bit out of the way, but maybe not just yet. Maybe we go a little bit further, and if the sea is beyond Treetop, then I recommend we burn him on the beach. It's what he would have wanted.
I'm good with that.
Sure.
I mean, it's been what, 4 days since his death?
Yeah, we've got 6 more days on the thing, don't we?
Mhm.
Yeah, but he's kind of unceremoniously in the bottom of a hole.
Well, he's not going anywhere. And he's not complaining about it
look.
either.
True.
It's the one time he's not going anywhere.
I mean, I could try to talk to him, and then if he doesn't say anything, we get rid of the body. It's just cruel.
Oh, are there any like sizable boulders nearby?
Yes, there is a lot of ammunition from trebuchets and stuff like that.
I'm trying to place you guys. Are you still at the tower?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would relay this information from
Mm-hmm.
my survey of the area.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have planned?
Well, I was thinking of maybe putting one of those into. Oh, and Udinar hasn't seen this before, and I'll pull out the giant's wallet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Uh,
It's
and
a
I'm gonna
box?
Just it's a unique box.
It's
And
not
I'm gonna-
just any box.
I'm gonna go and just take a piece of stone rubble
Mm-hmm.
and place it into the box and show that it disappears.
Yeah.
So it's a box that holds rubble. I'm
It can
I'm
hold
not impressed yet.
any one thing.
Okay.
Madam, why do you want to put a boulder in there?
Never know when you're gonna need a good boulder.
Fair enough.
It will take some time, however.
I just kind of look at you like, sure, if you want to put a boulder in your little box, I will help you, I suppose. Whatever the fuck that means.
All right, I guess we're gonna go make our way to a.
We're gonna
To a
go
boulder.
towards the other tower, and
Right.
then we'll get the madam's boulder and head to Treetop.
I suggest we go to the top and we can survey the area so you guys can see what we're dealing with.
I don't
Yep.
know that I trust climbing to the top of this tower.
Oh, to the top of the hill.
Of the hill.
Oh, okay, then
Yeah.
yes, we'll do that.
Okay. All right. So the group travels to the top of the hill. There you go.
Oh, it's so nice in the
Yes.
day.
You can kind of survey the field there and get a feel for things.
So this is the pond right here.
What?
This is the pond.
No, that's a rock.
That would be the
Is that
giant
what that
stone in
is?
the middle that I described.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Mhm.
So you're suggesting we go to this tower, to the north, to look through there?
I mean, I'm just saying if we go through this way, we could stop there and see if there's anything worth seeing there.
Well, there is a boulder over there for the madam, so
There you go.
okay, I think that's what we're doing. I think we're going north to the second tower.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess we'll just set off and we'll just start going. Are these trees and things here like rough terrain? Like we should go around them?
You can walk under them.
All right.
So what order would you like to act in?
I will take the lead.
Okay. So Noodles, then...
I'll go second, like
Okay.
maybe 10 feet behind, kind of
Sure.
crouching, kind of
Yeah.
watching for the dead wandering around.
Okay.
I'll go third, so
Okay.
it can cover the rear.
Okay. So it's a lady sandwich. Got it.
What?
Oh, it's a lady sandwich.
You never had a lady sandwich?
It's 2 man buns with the sandwich of ladies in the middle.
Please don't call us man buns.
Too late. Okay, so Udanar, you're acting first. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to move. Do you want us to go just as far as we can in one turn?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Case this and just see how far.
Don't forget, you can also like go and then right click and keep going.
I can, yes. I'm gonna only go as far as I can go per turn and just see if anybody else breaks off, basically.
Okay. Did you want to use a dash action and keep going, or?
As long as everybody else is behind me, yes.
Okay.
I'm assuming everybody else is behind me still.
Oh, I don't know what the group consensus
Yeah,
was.
I'm asking them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think we have any reason to stop.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not gonna go fucking dash off and go bite undead. No, we're okay.
Okay.
Susanna,
Me?
you're breathing in the mic. Yes, like that, but more natural and less forced.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Madam Beldam.
I'm sure that the measuring works out if I'm not going as far.
Let me make sure that it's on the right kind. Should be on Pathfinder. Yeah. Okay. As you make your way through the trees, heading north towards the ruined tower, you keep an eye on the battlefield just to see what's going on. It seems Pedalin was, attempting to crouch and be stealthy, but not really making any true attempt to do so. Everybody plods through happily. It seems as though the dead haven't noticed you. They, again, several of them you can see are preparing what looks like their defenses. Some are marching along. In fact, I need to move those that are marching along. Okay, and then 1, 3, 4. That one there. And this one. Okay. So, you may continue.
Okay. I'm going to continue up here.
Okay.
And
So you reach the ruined tower.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, just on the other side of that wall there, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to do this.
Okay.
Sense any undead. Specifically focusing in the tower, if that's even a thing. I don't think it is, but...
There are no undead within 60 feet.
Okay. I kind of give the like coast is clear sort of thing, wave the others over, and I will actually grab the shield off of my back and like hold it,
Okay.
like put it on basically.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, since I got the all clear, goodness gracious, what are you doing?
He's measuring.
Okay, since I got the all clear from Udinar, I'm just gonna come right up here and sit tight and wait for the others to follow.
Okay. Madam Bellum.
I'm gonna just duck down behind the wall, I guess.
Okay. And Egg.
Boop. Right up next to Petalin.
Okay. Now what?
Now we want to search the ruins.
Okay.
I guess I'm gonna search looking for. Let's look for treasure. Anything shiny.
You hear the sounds of a scuffle off to the southeast. You can see a couple of groups have engaged one another. Perhaps old combatants, centuries, millennia, who knows?
Do you
All
mean
right.
old combatants?
Combatants. They're like competent combatants, you know?
Yeah.
So they're not
Yeah, sure.
incompetent.
Yeah.
They are capable.
Yeah. Okay, so Petalin, you begin searching the ruins. What are you looking for?
Shinies.
Okay.
Items and gold or
Well,
treasure.
you need to be inside to do that.
Okay.
So as you step into the ruins and make your way carefully over the gravel and begin investigation, tell me kind of how you're searching through the ruin and rubble.
So kind of crouching down and looking closely through the rubble, not really moving a lot of the rubble because you don't want to make a lot of noise. But just kind of keeping low, keeping down and searching for anything that might catch the light or that seems out of place.
Okay. So as you're peeking through beneath one of the larger piles, you make out what looks to be maybe a skeletal hand. As you can make out the white, the bleached white of bone, and perhaps something silver beneath, like clutched in its grasp, but it's buried pretty deeply in the rubble itself.
I'll signal to Egg for him to come over and maybe help me move a couple of the stones.
Okay.
Sure.
We don't want to uncover whatever body is attached to the hand. We just want to uncover the hand enough to see kind of what it's gripping and maybe fish it out.
All right, Lavinia.
How far off is that? Well, I would have to go around. Hearing the scuffle, I may abandon the boulder plan just to avoid drawing attention.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna sit tight for now.
Okay. And then Egg.
Yeah, I'm assisting Petalin with
Okay.
whatever she's doing.
So how are you going to go about doing that?
So we see the hand kind of buried under the rubble, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we want to just move, like going carefully top down, just to uncover the hand enough so we can fish out whatever it is that it's clutching or holding the silver bit.
Okay. So you're just going to start hand moving.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't want the rocks to like cascade down and make a lot of noise. We're just going to kind of be careful about it.
So are you forming like a chain? How are you doing that?
I mean, we can form a chain for the smaller ones, but if there's ones that are too heavy for me to move, obviously we'd have to move them together.
Okay. All right. So the two of you begin unloading the rubble. As you do so, you notice that like there are several bodies buried within. Just that this one was closest to the top and had that glint of silver. Assuming you continue to unload rocks. Is that right?
Well, we don't want to unbury all the bodies. We just want to unbury the hand.
Right, I understand that. I was just telling you
So,
there was new news.
Yeah.
So no changes?
No.
Okay. All right, you and I continue to unload the rocks. You know it'll take you a little bit longer though. So we'll go ahead and flip on down to Noodles.
So I'm just kind of standing like Vanguard, like a watch, basically, and to let them know if it might be time to fight or go, and just kind of keeping an ear out.
Okay. So you watch the fighters, I suppose, as they hack away at one another, and several times you see that bones or splinters of bone go flying from centuries old weapons. One of them gets chopped in half but continues to fight. The small dog in the center, it's missing its lower jaw and one of its legs, but continues to attempt to gnaw on one of the skeletal soldiers. It's this almost comical but very methodical process of fighting, which is purely in just like almost muscle memory, except there's a complete lack of muscle. Madam Beldam.
I'm gonna keep holding tight.
Okay. So Egg and Pedalin, as you get closer and closer to uncovering the skeletal hand, you can now more clearly make out what looks to be like a silver bangle around the wrist of the creature. It's tarnished, but still has a glint and seems to be studded with red stones at cardinal points. So there are assumedly four red stones, because you can see three of them.
Can we? Is it uncovered enough that we can reach in and take the bangle?
Yeah.
Okay. Do I need to roll anything to attempt to do that, or can I just
no,
try?
just reach in
I'm
and.
just gonna reach in and take the bangle.
Okay. Now, are you gonna break the wrist to get it off, or how are you gonna get the bangle off the hand?
I would considering that it's a bangle, it should just be able to slide off the hand.
It should, but it's not.
Well, then I suppose Egg might have a little bit more success at breaking the wrist than me. So I'll indicate to Egg that he should snap the wrist.
All right.
Make a strength check. Okay, yeah. Egg snaps the wrist like a twig, and you're able to free the bangle.
Pretty.
You have a tarnished silver band with 4 red stones. It has some pretty delicate scroll work, but it has been beaten and bashed by whatever collapsed this tower.
Well,
I'll give it to Petalin since she wanted it.
Thank you. I don't think that we should uncover these bodies anymore, because if they're wandering around awake out there, if we uncover these guys, they're going to be wandering awake around in here. So we should probably head out now.
Yeah, we should get moving.
Because I don't really see anything else of value in here. Okay? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm nowhere near you. I don't hear this conversation.
Well, of course not. We're gonna come out.
Okay.
Quietly.
Sure. So the group reforms.
We're moving on.
We'll tell them there's nothing left of value in there, and we should get the Madam's boulder and go.
I think we should move on. I'll keep a lookout for another large rock, but I don't think we should linger here for any longer than we have to.
So are the tall trees to the east from us right now?
Yes.
Okay, so we still have to cross.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or you could, I mean, if you want, you can go north or south and avoid the battlefield. Try to go the long way around.
I'm not necessarily scared of the undead soldiers. I found them more kind of sad than anything. So I'm not opposed to going through straight ahead if we want to, but I'll defer to the group.
Why take any extra nicks when we can just walk around and avoid it entirely?
Okay. In that case, I will continue going north and taking the lead unless somebody else wants to as I walk here.
No, I'll continue to bring up the rear.
So is the group decision to go north and go the long way around?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, you guys are just headed towards Treetop Village?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. In what should have been a simple half-day walk, you find yourselves struggling through brambles, briar, thicket, and just difficult, rough terrain, crossing several streams, slick rocks, and more than once having to avoid the hungry gaze of some long-dead predator prowling through the woods themselves. Through several small strokes of fortune, you are largely unnoticed and unscathed, save for several fresh tears, rents, and other mishaps to your fine or traveling clothing.
I
Thick
fixed
and
that right up.
all right. So Madame Beldam slows the progress slightly more by taking the time to patch things.
Only for me.
Oh, well, I mean, like, are you doing it immediately as it happens, or do you
No,
wait?
as I'm walking, just slap a card and mend.
Okay. So
I'm also on
Yeah.
the lookout for a good boulder.
okay. Well, I mean, your best bet was there on the battlefield.
I just need a large rock, really.
How large?
Enough to crush a head.
Sure, you got one.
Okay, how long would it take to absorb into the giant's wallet?
If it's just something big enough to stomp ahead, a minute.
Yeah, that'll do for now.
So you got, let's say, a 50-pound rock.
Solid. All right.
Okay. Again, as I said, what should have been just a half day's walk ends up taking quite a bit longer. By the time you reach Treetop Village, the only way that you even knew you were there is that somebody spotted a glint in the trees themselves, and perhaps thought there shouldn't be starlight here, but instead what you saw is this scene.
Ooh.
Ooh.
A village amongst the treetops. You can see a few people moving around across the bridges themselves, but you aren't quite sure how to reach up above as you stand on the ground itself.
About how far above us are they, like, in terms of feet?
Maybe 100.
And there's no clear staircases or anything going up there?
No,
Ladders?
not that you can see.
Nobody on the ground, like in terms of like guards or scouts or stuff like that.
You can make a perception check. No, Madame Beldam, you do not see any guards, scouts, or anything of that nature on the ground.
Egg yells up, "Yo, Treetop, throw us a rope already."
Okay. Your voice rings out and is otherwise dampened by the leaves of the trees themselves. As you shout, you notice several of the piles of leaves that are on the ground as the seasons begin to change move, and out come several young children. Let's say Pedalin, Egg, and Madame Beldam recognize the silent sons that appear to be eyeing you carefully and approaching with weapons drawn.
I will take like a couple steps forward with hands up.
I will also put my hands up, but I won't move.
Following their lead, I will put the shield I am carrying on my back and also do the same.
Noodles, you also remember that. I mean, you've encountered suns and pixies before, just not as fresh in your memory.
Sure.
It will eventually come back to you, but perhaps not as immediate as the other three.
Yeah.
I'll say, "Hail, silent sons. We come from Red Shore, and we're looking for a specific druid that may have been in Treetop."
They lower their curved-bladed spears butt first to the ground and look amongst themselves, and then look back to you and nod, and then they gesture that you follow.
I will do so.
All right. As you follow them, you notice behind you that there appears to be an adult as well, with a large curved bow and a fully stocked quiver of arrows that you hadn't noticed previously. He keeps a healthy distance behind you, but keeps his eyes on the group. They lead you toward a pile of leaves and rocks, which they shift away and reveal a sort of rope lift, which looks as though it could perhaps house 2 people at a time. Udanor, you recall this having been the case last time you were here.
Okay. Starting to come back.
Mm-hmm. 2 at a time.
Who wants to head up first?
Yeah.
I will stay on the ground for the first one.
I'll go first.
Yeah, I'll head up too.
Okay. So, Madame Beldam and Pedalin, you ascend the rope lift. A couple of minutes later, it comes back down for Egg and Udanar, who I assume bored gleefully. In doing so, you notice that the sons who are pulling the rope seem to be having some small trouble in getting the 2 heavier men together up, and so the cloaked and the ranger figure, as it were, assists them in doing so. So you make it up. And as you do so, Madame Beldam and Pedalin, you are approached by a thin, spindly elf woman, dressed very scantily in like a sheer cloth, which has been sewn into like a robe/dress. She bows in greeting and says, "Welcome, Factors, to Treetop. What business do you have in our humble village?"
We seek the druid Eldrick, was it? Where are my notes? Fuck.
Yes, Eldrick, the apprentice to Grills.
She nods and says, "We know of Eldrick well here, for reasons perhaps best discussed another time, but no, Eldrick does not reside in the village of Treetop. He is nearby, in the woods that he calls home, perhaps a day's ride east. But please stay in the village for this evening. We would be happy to introduce you to the village chief if you have matters to discuss with him. Otherwise, I'll take you to the inn."
We appreciate your hospitality.
Indeed.
Do we have anything to discuss with the village chief?
Well, we might want to tell them what it is that we want with Eldrick.
I'd like to get some more information on Spira too, if possible.
Egg's fear of heights has triggered, and he's sort of
Jesus
standing
Christ.
as far away from the edges as he can, and sweating.
Egg, Jesus
More than
Christ.
usual.
So what I gather is that Egg needs to be on the ground at sea level at all times.
But not on the sea or near
Yes,
the sea.
right,
Or
on
near
the
a
ground.
pool. Or a big
Yeah.
puddle.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Flat, solid ground.
You're like the worst
Uh-huh.
puppy ever. I love
All
it.
right, I think I think we would like to speak to the chief, please, if we may.
Certainly. And for your lodging for the evening, will you be staying at the inn, or do you have previous arrangements? I'm sorry, we didn't receive word of your coming. Otherwise, we would have had more than the guard to greet you. She seems flustered.
It's quite all right. We weren't expecting to get here so soon, first off, and then there have been quite a bit of mess outside of the village that kind of held us up. We weren't in any way able to send any formal notice of our arrival.
Okay, I will send for Chief Kuwot. In the meantime, why don't you make yourselves at home in the tavern, and should you choose, you can speak with the innkeeper there and arrange for your lodging for the evening.
Thank you.
All right, so what you may have noticed is that Treetop Village is actually quite a bit larger than Red Shore by a factor of 3 or 4. It's almost the size of some of the towns that you've been to. As well as like even just the population of it considerably. But if you will, the liaison will lead you to the tavern.
Yep.
Any objections?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay. She takes you across several bridges, each of them lit by torchlight, and you safely traverse. They're well maintained and well traveled, and you enter a fairly sizable tavern itself, which is largely empty, though that may come as no surprise. With most of the locals being here. There is a group of hooded travelers that sit at a large table in the center, and then off to the side is a pair of maybe young women wearing even more revealing clothing than your liaison, who eye you up and down as you enter the tavern before leaning over to whisper something to one another and giggling amongst themselves. The innkeep is an elderly man, and at his side is a much younger woman, maybe in her like mid-teenage years, who is currently atop a ladder fetching something down from one of the patrons at the bar top itself. Your liaison bows and says, I will return shortly with the chief. In the meantime, I'm sure that you've been to an inn before. Please make yourselves at home.
Egg is walking like
appreciate
he's
the guidance.
walking down a slight plank, despite there being plenty of floor space. It's just one foot in front of the other, very wobbly, makes his way over to the bar and asks for a drink.
Okay.
Hey, why is there an assassin on the rafters?
You didn't notice that.
I'm gonna approach the innkeeper.
Okay. So Egg plops himself down at the bar and asks for a drink. And the barkeep, or rather the innkeep, the elderly man, looks over to you and looks down his nose at some odd spectacles, these little round things of glass. I'm not sure if you've seen them before. And he says, well, what's your poison?
Pedalin pops up at the bar next to Egg and says, ale, please!
He nods to the girl, who heads to a nearby cask and begins filling a wooden mug.
Egg just says something strong.
He says, is the cost a factor or a concern? Because I can have you knocked out in a single sip if you're willing to pay.
How much?
He says, put a gold piece on the counter and we will talk. Or rather, I will talk and you will drink.
Egg puts down 5 gold pieces.
Good Lord, Egg!
A discerning man. Excellent taste, I see. And as the girl brings over a mug, he leans over and whispers something in her ear, and her eyes go like wide as saucers, and she nods and begins to climb a ladder behind the bar up to like the very, very top shelf. As she does so, she retrieves this very small bottle, maybe the height of the entire length of your hand, and it's very thin, maybe like 2 thumbs around. And in doing so, it's got a small cork. She pops the cork and hands it to what you can presume to be a fatherly figure, just based off the way he speaks to her, and that they have very similar noses. And she bows and hurries out from behind the bar and goes and attends to other patrons. He takes this drink and pours 1, 2, 3 droplets, and then splashes a nut or another alcoholic drink in a glass bottle on top of that and slides it to Egg.
I'll
Egg
have
downs it
what
all at
she's
once.
having.
I'm gonna stand
But,
behind Egg to catch him if he inevitably falls.
Okay. So another ale is poured, this time by the barkeep himself, and handed to Lavinia.
Do you have
And
a washroom by chance?
He says it comes with a room for the evening, but it's not free. So if you book a room, it's yours.
How much is a
I'm-
room?
Let me look up the costs. Expenses. Item, food, drink, and lodging. Here we go. Well, we have our standard rooms, which are a single silver piece. If you'd like a little bit extra amenities, such as a room to bathe, that would be 5. And if you would like any roomside service or perhaps a more comfortable bed, we offer a much richer suite for a single gold piece for the evening.
Madam, I'll split a room to bathe in with you if you like.
Could certainly use a bath.
You can
I'm gonna lean into her
yeah,
and say,
yeah.
"All my money's in the hole."
The
Don't worry, I
innkeep
got this.
the innkeep leans forward and says, "Now, just so you're aware, we can only sleep 3 to a room. So I'm afraid you'll have to book 2 if all 4 of you are staying."
Oh,
Egg
that's
slaps
not
down a gold so he can get his own private room with which to throw up in and be
Okay.
sick.
He says,
Amazing.
well, that'll be our last suite for the evening, so I suppose the rest of you are up for our more modest accommodations.
Pedalin fishes out enough silver pieces for a room with a bath.
That would be 5. And Udanar. Are you staying with the ladies?
I guess. So real talk, I forgot to write down how much money I had from the character creation, so I don't even remember how much I had.
That sounds like a personal problem.
It is.
Don't worry, Udnar, you can stay with us tonight, but we get first dibs on the bath.
Yeah.
Looking at me, it's probably pretty obvious I haven't bathed in a long time and am okay with it. So, yes, that's fine.
Okay.
But you are gonna bathe.
I'm just looking
All
at
right.
you.
Well, you
so
are.
The innkeep says, I'm terribly sorry to interrupt this riveting conversation, but will you be having any meals this evening?
Yes. Just meat or whatever you have that's hearty.
I can certainly provide a hearty meal. It'll be another 5 silver pieces.
Oh, Jesus.
No,
All right.
thank you. I think I'm fine.
Anybody
we
else?
haven't been in. Is it per person?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we had
May
good
we,
berries earlier,
Yeah,
so
we have berries.
I know. We haven't been in town for quite some time.
Yeah.
I feel like we should treat ourselves.
I'm treating myself with alcohol. Then she takes
Hey.
a big sip of her ale.
I'm waiting for Egg to drink his drink.
Egg needs to prepare for later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does the bar have anything in bottles that he could take to his room for later?
Like, drink?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want a gallon of ale? Do you want a bottle of wine? Would you like a hard liquor?
Give me a hard liquor in a bottle.
Okay. He takes, after he brought you the shot, he took 3 gold pieces, and for the bottle of hard liquor, he takes another gold piece.
Okay.
So you still got 1 gold piece on the bar.
We may be interested in dinner, but first I'd like to use the washroom to freshen up real quick.
Of course. And he calls out across the bar, "Beth, room now!" And the girl starts like she wasn't, like a scared rabbit, and scurries along, and gestures to the 4 of you to follow her. And she points at Egg and says, "Not that one. He's in the suite." And she just like, "Oh, okay." And so she takes the 3 of you and leads you up a ladder into the rooms above the inn itself. And it's modest accommodations. There are 2 beds and like a hay cot, and the 2 beds are like nice cotton beds. Goose down pillow, that kind of thing. Like very, very decent accommodations for what you're paying. And then of course the hay cot is there as well. And then she says, and if you're meaning to take a bath, you'll need to head down to ground level. That's where the hot springs is, and it's how we keep the water heated.
Appreciate the information.
I think I should bathe before I get drunk. So.
Egg also is going to request a bottle of wine be brought to his room for breakfast, and then he will drink his shot once that is taken care of.
Okay, so he plucks the gold piece off the bar and gives you back 2 silver, and says that it will all be taken care of. Now, as you take the shot, make a Constitution saving throw.
Yep.
When we have a moment of privacy in the room.
Okay. So now that I know what egg save is, I'll go ahead and head back to you guys. So she hands you a piece of carved bark that it looks like the features of a delicate woman. She says, "This will get you into the baths. I suppose you'll be needing another. If you'll excuse me, I'll run down to the bar and bring that back." So she ducks out. Egg, I will attend to you in the morning.
Gotcha.
With her leaving the room, I'm going to take the portable hole, and on an open like space of wall, I'm going to open it up so it's a horizontal hole.
Sure.
As everything clatters to the bottom, so I don't need to jump into it.
Sure.
I'm going to pull out 30 gold pieces, just so we have some funding, and I recommend that anyone put any valuables into the hole for safekeeping.
Oh, good. You read my mind.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll put all but you know what? I'll keep 5 gold pieces on my person as well, and I'll put everything else into the hole. And I will change into my fine clothes.
Okay.
Udnar, do you have anything you want to stash away?
Nope.
Okay.
Alrighty. We'll go ahead and close up the hole.
Just in time, as you hear footsteps approaching, there is a soft rap at the door.
Come in. And I stuffed the portable hole like into my bra.
A squat elven man with a paunch belly appears, and he says, "These were requested for you," and he hands a pair of tokens, one to I don't know who had the other one, so either Pedalin or Madame Beldam, and one to Udinar. Udinar's is very similar. It's a carved wooden like figure of a man.
Okay.
He says, "When you're ready to head down, just head to the lift attendant and tell them that you're here for a bath."
Well, I, for one, am going to bathe first and then come back and enjoy more of the barkeep's wares.
Okay.
I guess we should take shifts on baths. We've never been here before, and I don't necessarily trust them to not rummage through our belongings.
Well,
So,
madam, you wanted to
Udnar-
eat, didn't you?
Mostly I wanted to get away and get some funding out of the hole.
Well, if you don't mind me taking the first shift on the bath, I'll go bathe and you can have a nice meal.
Well, it's
and
the hot
then,
spring, so the two of us can go take a bath, and Udnar can watch the belongings, and we can swap off.
Okay.
Is that the plan then?
Yes, dig the hole out of your bra and give it to Udnar.
I suppose I'll do so.
Okay. You are now the proud owner of a portable hole, Udinar.
Sweet.
So are you two heading down to the baths?
Yes. And that way
Okay.
Udnar can stay here in case the chief shows up.
Okay. All right. So as you two head out and head back down the ladder and around, you'll end up passing back through the bar. As you do so, you see that Egg is fully sprawled out on his stomach, drooling atop a table.
I signal to the bartender. Is he all right?
The bartender just shrugs and says, "Well, I've seen worse.
Do we need to move him?
No, he'll be taken care of. Don't you worry. He's paid up."
Thank you.
How much would a cask run us?
A cask of
Just ale.
4 silver,
How large is this cask?
2 gallons.
I was hoping for something bigger.
How much do you want?
Are you wanting to take the cask with us to the baths?
No, that is a good idea though. But
Why don't
no,
we
I
take-
wanted to load up on some alcohol just so we have for traveling.
Okay,
Mhm.
well, why don't we take... How much is a bottle of wine?
3 silver pieces.
All right, you want to take... We'll take a bottle of wine with us to the baths, and then in the morning when we're ready to set out, that's when we'll buy our casks and things for the road.
You can get, so if you want, just letting you know, you can buy the 2-gallon cask, you can buy a larger 8-gallon version, or you can buy the 20-gallon barrel.
Oh, I think we'll buy the barrel.
Let's do that
Okay.
in the morning.
Yeah, I guess I'll ask the innkeeper as well if there are any shops in town to gather general supplies at.
Oh, he says, well, we run the full list of amenities here, though most folk will be in bed by now. Your best bet would be tomorrow. We're a humble village, but we like to think we serve the needs of the people.
Appreciate the information. We'll come pick them up on our way back in.
Okay.
All right, we'll take a bottle of wine down to the baths with us, please.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. So you head to the lift attendant and let them know that you're here for the baths. He requests your tokens.
We hand them over.
Okay. As you hand over your tokens, he takes a look at each of them and looks at you and says, "Yeah, this'll do." Pockets them in a small wooden satchel, which you can hear several wooden tokens clattering around. You can assume that this is largely his collection point. And he leads you instead to another rope ladder and says, "Down here." And it's again, same as before, it'll fit 2 people. So assuming you both hop in, he lowers you down below into an enclosed space that seems to have been carved into the tree itself, where you are greeted by a young woman, again wearing very sheer clothing like the liaison that met you previously. And she says, "Are you here for the baths?"
We absolutely are.
It'll be just a few moments, and you feel free to have a seat. We ask that you disrobe before going in and leave your belongings here. And they will be here. Would you like them to be washed or pressed while you wait?
No, thank you. We've got that handled.
She shrugs and says, "Very well." Says, "Just leave them in a pile there in the corner, and they'll be here when you return." And then she gestures to a door and says, "Another young woman will be here to escort you in a few moments once your baths are ready."
Can we take this in with us? And I point to the bottle of wine.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Do be careful though.
So I guess we're just sitting naked and waiting. All right.
I don't know. I'm waiting for confirmation from you guys.
I am.
Okay. So Peddler quickly disrobes. So as the girl walks away, she stops and turns around and says, "Actually, will you be bathing together or separately?"
Would
I
together
hadn't
get
thought
us
about
in
it. I guess
faster?
together.
I mean, it's approximately the same amount of time. Just lets us know where to place you.
Would together get us a bigger bath?
Yes.
Then yes.
Okay. So she pokes her head through the door and says, "Scratch the 2, make it 1." And says, "Okay, she'll be along shortly." So as you sit there, the girl brings you a couple of towels, so to cover your shame, and allow you a little bit more modesty. And then a few moments
Edelyn
later,
doesn't have any shame.
Which Madame Beldam disrobed, but still has the blindfold on.
all right, okay. So she, the girl sits down, behind the wooden counter and is scratching some notes in what looks like a ledger. And she looks up and she says, "No." It looks as though she starts to say something and then checks herself and just closes her mouth and returns to the small ledger. Shortly thereafter, a very young little girl, like maybe 10 or so, pops through and says, "Bath's ready," and indicates for you to follow her along. She leads you to a large wooden tub, which is like carved into the tree base itself. So it's like they've carved a ring out of the tree to make the bathhouse itself, and then within that, the floor is carved out to make a large bath. And you can see steam rising off of it, and there are several bubbles and things of that nature. It looks as though they've scented it with oils and flower petals and things like that.
So this would have been like the first time that Beldam's taken off her clothes, I suppose. We've seen Petalin naked before, although unwillingly.
Whatever.
So something that hadn't been noticed before, Beldam has a bunch of really old-looking scars all over her back.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Oh my gosh.
top to lower back, it's just different small scars all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Madam, what happened?
Old wounds that I wish to not talk about.
So, bath time. Okay, Noodles, you are hanging out in the room, doing your thing.
Yeah.
Anything that you want to attend to?
Yeah, no, I'm going to go back down to the tavern and have an ale.
Okay.
And talk to the barkeep if he's not busy.
Sure. So it's, what did I say, 4 copper for a mug of ale?
Yeah. So yeah, whatever the standard ale is, I'll pay it for the 4
Yeah.
copper. I figured out how
Sure.
much I should have as well. So
Okay, cool.
okay.
All right,
I'm
so
gonna
you're
go feed the dog while you do your interaction here.
Okay.
so you're hanging out at the bar top. Egg is passed out on the table behind you.
Yeah.
And
So I'll just strike up a conversation and just say, what do you know of this Vendrick character?
I don't know any Vendrick.
Hmm.
Do you mean Eldrick?
Eldrick. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Eldrick. Yeah.
That threw me off. So let's say you said Eldrick. He's like,
Yep.
"Oh, Eldrick. Oddfellow comes in from time to time, though we haven't seen him in almost a year now. Just a quirky odd fellow that prefers to keep to himself these days. Why do you ask?"
Oh, the group I'm with, apparently they're meeting him for some reason. They disclosed some of it to me, but I'm not exactly sure. Something about Spira or something like that. You know anything of Spira?
He closes one eye and looks at you and says, "Of course I know about Spira. Everybody in the 3 villages knows about Spira. What business do factors like you have with that old place?"
Nothing particularly important to me. Something about restoring it or whatever.
Now that would be a mighty fine venture, but I can tell you now. He leans forward. He says, "Now, of course, not in my lifetime, and not in the lifetime of my grandfather or his grandfather. That city was known as a great gleaming jewel. The living city, they called it. At least that's what the legends say. But you wouldn't be the first to try to bring it back, and I imagine you won't be the last. A fool's errand, that."
Perhaps. Any idea why it no longer exists?
No, none whatsoever. I mean, it was there, and then it wasn't. But see, the way I figure it, my wisdom and old years is, Oh, if a city's truly living and it chooses it wants to live somewhere else, well, it can up and go somewhere else, can it?
I just kind of smirk. It's like, I suppose so. That's a it's a weird thing to say. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I was like, yeah, it might all be nonsense anyways. Kind of met up with this group not too long ago. Good bunch of people, but have some crazy ideas.
All you factors do.
Speaking of which, what do you know of the Death Singer?
Oh, everyone. I'd say everyone across Nightfall knows of the Death Singer in some regard. What do you want to know, and how do you not know? I suppose you're truly not from here.
Oh, I have hunches. I'm just more concerned about the fact that he seems to have left his post. I'm sure you've noticed the dead wandering aimlessly in the area.
Well, nobody around town, and I don't much see reason to leave the village myself. But if you're saying there's dead out there, I'm sure there are. And if the Death Singer's truly missing, like you say, then it comes as no surprise. It was his job to sing them lullabies. Another odd fella that seems to keep to himself. But if you really wanted information, you should ask the folks at Red Shore. I hear that's where he calls home.
Yeah, that is a planned stop. For sure, at some point.
I will tell you this much. The Death Singer is a spellcaster, and, well, I'm sure as a factor, you know them spellcasters are a weird bunch.
Tell me about it. I'd just take a sip. And that's probably
I don't
where...
foodle. Go ahead.
That's
He was just
probably
going to say,
where
I don't
interaction
foodle with
such.
magic too much myself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you need anything else from him?
No, I'll just pay him and I guess start walking to where I figured the others would be.
Okay. So... Wait, what do you mean the others?
Like, basically, I'm just going to slowly walk to meet up with them at the bass or whatever. Or, like, at the entrance to it. So when they're done,
Okay.
I can do my thing.
Sure. So you stand up from the bar and turn around, and around that same time, Madame Beldam and Pedalin both walk through the door. Their hair still glistening wet, smelling of flowers and scented oils. For the first time, you notice that they're actually not tan. They're actually both quite peachy, I believe, and they seem happier and more perky and pert and alert, like almost refreshed. Rumble, are you back?
No, I'm on hold.
Ow. That was so loud. Okay, well, in the meantime, I suppose Pedalin can take the lead.
Pedalin adjusts the collar on her fine robes a little bit. It's like, by the gods, I can't remember when I felt so refreshed.
If it's your fine clothing, it's a dress, like a gown, like a ball gown.
But I'm just kind of adjusting it a little bit on my shoulders, you know.
Just didn't want you to think it's like a mage robe or anything.
No.
All right, so you are extravagantly dressed in this tavern where most people are just wearing standard clothes. Sure. What next?
I give Udinar a wink and I tell him that he should take a bottle of wine down with him too, because it's the cherry on top.
I'll just keep to myself. Thanks for the tip.
All right, I'll shrug, and the madam and I will go to a table, or perhaps, madam, do you want to go to the bar and talk to the bartender, or you want to sit at a private table? Private table it
Do you
is.
really want me to reply on mobile?
Yeah. So just make a decision. That's fine.
Private table.
All right, so you avoid the group in the center and head off to one of the tables in the corner. Udinar, as you prepare to leave to go head down for your own bath, The door opens, and the familiar, thin, wiry elf woman appears again. And she scans the bar for a moment before spotting you, and she leans out the door and says something. And walking behind her is a very small, perhaps half man, who carries himself with great stature and marches in. Heads over to the table, and do you follow along with her, Udanar, or do you head out to the bath?
I will follow along with her.
Okay. And so she nods at you in recognition and heads over to the table where Madame Beldam and Petalin are sitting and says, "May I present Chief Kuwot of Treetop Village?" And she leans down to him and says, "Sir, I believe these factors here had a few questions for you that could not wait until morning."
I give him a nod and say, "Sir."
Petalin stands up and offers a curtsy.
You find yourself several inches taller than the chief, and he offers a bow in response, and with a hearty cheer says, "Greetings, welcome to my village. How can I assist you, factors, this late in the evening?" There's a hint of perturbed annoyance in his voice.
We're sorry to bother you so late, sir, but we had a couple of questions about Eldrick, a druid that seems to reside near here.
He says, "Oh, that boy. It's been about a year. What do you need to know?"
Well, we were wondering if you could tell us a little bit about his work in the area, as well as where we might be able to find him.
Well, Eldrick really doesn't spend much time in Treetop anymore. He keeps to the woods east of town. Can I ask what it is you're needing him for?
Well, we understand that he might be studying Spira and its disappearance, and we thought that we might offer some assistance, or see if we can help in his mission at all.
Spira. And Eldrick. That does make sense. Sure. So I'd be happy to help you. You want to head east out of town? Just about a day's ride, and Eldrick's woods are noticeable as of late. Used to be I'd have to give you a few things to look out for, so you'd passed into what he considers his territory. But no. Eldrick's woods, east of town, about a day's ride. But you best be careful. Strange and stranger things happening out there for a few weeks. The woods definitely aren't safe. But I suppose you are factors, and that means you care to look after yourselves. But yeah, no, haven't seen that boy.
Have the
Any
dead
reason-
been causing you trouble?
Oh, no trouble here. The dead can't usually climb, and the ones that can are taken out by the suns and our own keepers of the peace. We're quite well warded, you know.
Have you been in contact with the other druids recently regarding the wards?
Oh, no, we haven't had any trouble, so we haven't reached out to anybody. And we have our own steady group of factors here, out all across the world, finding relics to make sure that our wards stay powered. But our core ward is quite healthy and still going. So no, we haven't had much need of them.
You speak of other factors. Are there any in town currently? We somehow during our time on Nightfall have not run into any others.
I think you're going to need to roll deception on that one.
Really? Why?
You guys have definitely run into factors here, and you've definitely run into factors from Treetop. I seem to recall a certain young caster girl and her master.
Oh, were they from Treetop?
Yes.
All right, I'll roll deception, but I honestly
I
didn't
mean,
remember.
my
killed a bunch
character
of other
has not,
factors.
Yeah.
or probably did at some point, but yeah.
He all right, so Chief Kuwalt just kind of eyeballs you, side eyes you a little bit and says, "Interesting. Yeah, behind me here, as I'm sure you may have noticed, the four sitting at that table are relatively new to town but claim to be factors, and you'll notice the pair of women over there, though perhaps less conventional in style, they do provide relics to the village. And I'm sure at some point you could speak with any of the keepers of the peace. They tend to know more about the comings and goings of factors. It tends to only reach my ears when it's something that the village itself needs.
Do you happen to know anything about the disappearance of the Death Singer?
Again, no, we haven't been troubled too much, so it just hasn't come to me. You get the feeling there's definitely something he's not telling you, Piddlin.
Mm.
It's as if that will be all. I suppose it was definitely of great importance that I meet with you this evening, and I'm glad to be of service. But if there's nothing else, then I will retire for the evening.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. He bows and almost trots out, skipping gaily along the way. The liaison looks at you and looks at him and rolls her eyes and follows behind dutifully.
I'll turn
I
back
get
to the group. Like, shouldn't she have told us like it was a little late? Like, she didn't offer that information. That maybe he'd be a little snappy that it was late.
I get the feeling that he's not telling us everything. I think he's hiding something and that he knows more about the Death Singer.
Perhaps. Maybe I should have pushed him a little harder.
Well,
So
I think-
your insight in particular, like just the entire conversation, he was not, there was more that he wasn't telling you. It wasn't just in regards to the Death Singer. It's just like his entire demeanor was forced pleasantry and
cagey.
yeah.
I think we might do well to talk to some of the other villagers and the guards and things like that, see what they know.
Why don't we have a conversation with the other factors? Share some stories.
Sure.
I want to take a glance at the other two groups and like see which one looks to be more seasoned.
Perception checks.
Man, my rolls are fucking garbo tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say this to us? Like we should choose the better group or something?
No, that was me for my own stuff.
So I wouldn't do a perception then.
Yeah. So at a glance, it's painfully obvious that the group behind you appears to, be grizzled, traveled. They have dust on their cloaks. They still wear their weapons. Whereas the two young girls over on the side are wearing sheer clothing like the liaison and giggling amongst themselves. So they certainly don't look like seasoned factors at all.
Or maybe I think they're so confident in their abilities that they dress that way.
Maybe. But, I mean, based off the perception check, I'm just telling you at a glance.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to go approach the two ladies.
Okay.
I'll go with you.
You approach the two young girls, and they both look at you through lowered heads and raised eyes and say, "Oh, what can we do to assist you, fine travelers? Please have a seat. Have a drink. We welcome the warm company."
Well, go ahead and sit down then.
Okay. So as you take a seat, she says, "I'm Leah, and this is Tulip, my sister. We're well known around town, but since you're not from here, we're happy to share some stories with you. What did you need?"
I'm gonna actually pull Udinar back up to the room real quick.
Oh,
You can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you went to the table and then left the table.
Well, I'll make an excuse. I was like, oh, excuse me, I forgot something in our room real quick. I'll be back to join you shortly.
Sure. Okay. And they're like, oh, please take your time. And the two girls just begin feasting on Lavinia with their eyes and say, well, what can we do for you?
From what the village chief had told us, you two are also factors.
They look at each other and they giggle. You could say that. They both say so in unison.
I'd like to insight check that shit.
What are you hoping to learn?
If they're just like being coy with me, or like if I can, I don't know how to word it. Like if they're being guarded because of a stranger who approached them and they're not really being forthcoming.
Oh no, I mean, you get the feeling that they, like, when they say, you know, you could say that they're not necessarily like being cagey or guarded. That's how they would answer.
Hmm.
Udinar, I just pulled you up here into the inn room so that you could give me the whole before you go to the baths.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
could have just handed
You don't want to
it to
take
you.
that with you.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, so Udinar is going to head down to the baths.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so
I'm going to stuff the hole down my dress and then go join the madam.
Okay. So let's Lavinia and I have a few more words, and then you will show back up. So yeah, they say you could say that, and they giggle amongst themselves, and the feeling you get from it is like maybe they're not traditional factors, but they aren't necessarily like intentionally keeping secrets. They're just letting they're being flirtatious in the flow of conversation.
Okay. Have you two been to Creekside?
Oh no, we don't travel much.
Helpful. All right.
So we don't see the purpose in going to the smaller villages like that. No. We have traveled when invited, but typically no, we do our jobs from here.
I was just curious. It seems that they have a hag problem not too far away.
Ew. A hag. Gross.
I think we may have run into her. Not the most attractive looking woman, but
They both look at each other like, are you making the opposite of a pass at us? Are you insulting us? Are you implying in some way that we're hags?
My apologies for dashing off so quickly at the beginning of our conversation. What did I miss with you?
Jesus Christ.
In a huff, with their arms now crossed, they say, well, your companion here just insulted the both of us, calling us hags.
Heavens, Lavinia, why would you say such a thing? So rude. You'll have to forgive my companion. It's been quite a while since she's been in fine company.
And they look at you and they're like, you're an interesting one. Have a seat. Not our usual taste, but you'll do.
Thank you. And I'll flag the bartender down.
The girl comes over and says, yes.
A bottle of wine for the table, please.
Okay, and Miss Leah and Miss Tulip, the usual? The girls giggle and nod and say, of course. The barmaid bows and scuttles off, and a couple minutes later comes back with a bottle of wine.
so I'm gonna go and like open up my pouch of cards
Mm-hmm.
under the table and say, I'm sorry, it seems I may have offended you. As an apology, would you like your fortune read? And as I say that, magically the cards come floating out of the pouch and like hover around and then lay across on the table.
Okay, make a perception check. Also Pedalin. Okay. Pedalin, you notice as Madame Beldam flourishes the cards magically that the four sitting at the table in the center of the room all turn their heads to look and then quickly begin to whisper amongst one another. The other patrons of the bar largely don't notice, except the barkeep seems enamored and is now leaning atop his bar, or leaning on his bar top, watching carefully. The two girls giggle and lean into one another and nod, and they say, "Yes, can you do both of us?"
Of course. Who wants to go first?
She says, Tulip speaks up and says, me. And she's the younger looking of the two, though you're pretty sure they're twins. Leah grabs the bottle of wine and begins to pour glasses for each of you. Okay, so you tell Tulip's fortune to the best of your ability. What kind of fortune would you like to tell? Like,
I'll,
would you
I'll,
like to-
I got it. I'm gonna flip over a card and just go, and then flip over another and another. And on the last one, oh no.
The girl Tulip just seems to huff. She's like, "Well, you're a strange fortune teller, not like any I've ever had before. Tell me what you're seeing. What's going to happen? Is it riches? Do you see riches in my future? Will I marry a handsome prince or princess? Am I greater than my big-headed sister?" The older girl slaps her playfully across the shoulder.
Unfortunately, nothing that lucky. If I were you, I would avoid frogs for the near future.
She puckers her lips and says, "Frogs, ew. Disgusting, vile creatures. Thankfully, none here in the treetops of Treetop. Thank you for your wonderful advice. I shall avoid the gross lizards for a while."
Have they taken a sip of any of their wine?
No.
All right, I will also not.
Okay.
All right. I will go ahead and shuffle and redeal.
Okay. You're going to have a harder read on this one. Much more hazy and clouded. So were you actually fortune telling for Tulip? I assume so because you actually rolled it.
I mean, I suppose so, but it's more theatrics than
Well,
anything.
Right, but I can give you information, is what I'm saying.
No, this is more just to appease them.
Okay, so you're not actually doing it. You're just flipping cards.
More or less. I guess I should be making performance checks, huh?
Yes. Okay. And then roll your other performance. Okay. Sounds like Leah's going to get an exciting telling.
Oh, I'm trying to even think what the hell I should bullshit for this fortune.
Well, it seems that the sisters may have some sort of latent competitive vibes going on between them. Clearly, one of them acts as though she's the elder, despite the fact that you're, again, pretty sure they're twins. So, play on that.
Okay. You told me you don't travel much, but did you have any plans to go to sea in the future?
Well, of course. We, well, if we travel, it's certainly not by foot.
From what I can read, it seems you might meet a handsome captain aboard a boat.
Yeah, seems to fan herself as though she were slightly Twitter-pated. She says, "You don't say. Now, can you read this handsome captain's name in the cards?
Unfortunately, it's a little hazy, but it looks like it's not too far from now.
She
It feels like he'd
squeals.
be
Go ahead.
easy to notice. It is
She's
a grand ship that he captains.
all right. So she squeals and looks over to her sister and says, "I told you he liked me better." The tulip seems to be sulking. Is that it?
I suppose so for now.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so she says, "I told you he liked me better," and again slugs her sister in the shoulder.
Oh.
And Tulip begins to sulk and says, "Yeah, well, they're just dumb cards, Leah. They don't mean anything."
Oh, Leah, do you have a
Yeah.
handsome captain already in mind?
Well, the two of us may or may not have met a young captain not too long ago. A few years, actually, but he said he would be returning this way. A beautiful elf, said he was a prince.
Does that ring any bells considering our recent encounter with elves and boats?
Well, the elf prince was, I mean, this is out of character, but we know from the servant of the elven princess, who is the escapee, that the princess's brother was sailing around this area looking to try and bring back Spira also, or investigating it. I don't think I have his name in my notes though.
I feel like we kind of glazed over it after having
It,
killed an
the-
important
the-
NPC.
The Tolmuin Lothanar elf family.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever gave you the prince's name.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
can't find it, so.
Just you would know Prince Lothanar. But the younger sister Tulip begins to drink heavily from her bottle or from her glass.
What time of day is it at this point? I'm guessing super late.
It's night.
Based on the fact that everything's closed and the chief was perturbed, we can assume closer to night owl hours rather than normal people hours.
Yes.
Okay.
The bar is mostly clearing out.
Is that group of 4 still over there?
Yes.
We may, out of character, we may want to go talk to them soon. I don't know how far we're going to get with these girls. Okay. So one set of lovely female factors to another. Have you ladies had any good finds lately?
Oh, not us. We haven't had to work much lately. The village is doing so well. There was a group that came through not too long ago on some great quest for, I think they called it New Atnos. We're to understand it's a city out on the southwestern side of the southwestern side of the continent of the island. Never been, but I've always wanted to go. They were going on and on about some great lead they had, but we didn't pry too much. They weren't coming back.
Not coming back through here, you mean?
Yes, of course.
How fortunate that Treetop should be doing so well. It must
Well-
have a truly powerful relic at its center ward.
Oh, you have no idea. Her sister nudges her in the ribs.
Oh, do tell me. We're fascinated.
Oh, it's not our place to say such things. You would need to talk to the chief or one of the village elders.
Well, we certainly wouldn't want to overstep our place. But I don't think that the chief would really have time for us. Who's an elder we might speak to?
I mean, they're all old, stodgy folks, and certainly abed by now. You'll have to catch them, likely before noon. But you can't miss them. They're wrinkled and old and ugly.
How unfortunate for them.
Yes, very. Not quite like yourselves. Have you ladies already booked a room for the evening?
I'm afraid so, yes.
Well, you wouldn't happen to have space in your bed for 2 more, would you?
I'll kind of eye them up and down a little bit. So, well, if we did, we know who we would offer that space to. But alas, the big fellow that you saw with us earlier, he's our bunkmate this evening, and we couldn't possibly.
Oh, we could. The
He's
more the
a bit
merrier.
of a curmudgeon.
That's too bad. Well, for as long as you're in Treetop, the offer stands. Come and find us any night. Most nights we're here.
We appreciate your hospitality.
The pair of them wink at you simultaneously.
And we thank you for your time. And let us cover your drinks for the evening. And
Oh,
I'll
you...
slide 5 gold onto the table.
I take it and say, well, we appreciate the bottle.
All right, I'm gonna get up and like do a little nod farewell, and then head over to the bar.
Okay.
So I'm gonna talk to the bartender.
Mm-hmm.
I did not bring my wine with me.
Okay.
May I have a mug of ale, please?
It's 4 copper.
Okay.
And he pours it himself as the barmaid is currently attending to the table of 4, having just brought out what looks like an entire roast chicken, along with an assortment of fruit and cheese.
I'm gonna lean into the bartender and kind of wave him to lean in close to me real quick. Hey, just I don't mean to be rude or insulting, but are those 2 prostitutes? And I kind of like nod my head in Leah and Tulip's direction.
His eyes go wide and he says, Miss Leah and Tulip, prostitutes? No.
Shut up! Shush! Quietly.
He leans down. He's like, oh, right, of course. He says, no. Those 2, they're just friendly girls.
Who sleep with patrons?
Well, on occasion, once you get to know everybody in the village, it only makes sense that you might be interested in the new comings and goings.
And then you might
Right.
also be interested in stealing relics from newcomers?
I wouldn't know a thing or two about that, miss. They're no daughters of mine. They pay for their rooms, they pay for their drinks, their tab is well taken care of.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure. What can you tell me about this group of 4 factors over here in the center?
Fresh faces just came in about a week ago. Only stayed in the inn a couple of nights, keep journeying out and coming back every few days, and haven't brought anything with them, so I suppose whatever it is they're on the lookout for, they haven't found yet. Mostly keep to themselves.
Leah and Tulip mentioned a group from New Atnos a while back.
Okay.
Do you know what it was they were looking for?
I don't keep track of every group that comes through the tavern so much as long as they pay for their room and pay for their food. It's not like I'm asking for their life story.
No,
Shit,
certainly.
He says, hells, I don't even know your name.
Oh, well, I'll stick out my hand to shake his, and it's like, I'm peddling.
He looks at you as though he thought that was obvious that it wasn't an invitation, more of a statement, and looks at his hand, wipes it on his apron, and shakes your own hand, but with a confused look on his face. He says, "And I'm Lee. Okay."
Nice to meet you, Lee. It's quite fortunate that your town is so large and does so well with all these newcomers and factors coming through.
It truly is. We are a blessed little village.
Oh, I'd say you're larger than a village, surely.
Oh, well, you could certainly say that, though with no city to call our own and no township to report to since, well, maybe you know, maybe you don't. Let's just say that we still consider ourselves to be a village.
Well, you must have a mighty large relic as your central ward.
Oh, you could say that. Just very powerful and well kept.
May I ask what it is?
You could go and take a look at it, but not without the village chief's permission.
Oh, well, perhaps we'll seek him out again tomorrow morning and see if he would be so kind.
Certainly, you're welcome to do whatever you see fit outside the walls of my tavern.
I look over at the madam to see what she's doing.
I was going to meet back up with Udinar.
I walked in at this point.
Sure. Freshly bathed.
Mm-hmm.
For the first time in a long time.
Mm-hmm. His appearance hasn't changed much, though. Just wetter.
And fewer sticks and leaves sticking out of
Sure.
various places.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
go over to where they are.
I mean, I imagine Noodles would make his way to the bar where Petalin is.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll just come up
Yeah.
and say, so, what's the word?
Well, do you
you've been
feel like
offered
having a
good time.
five-some?
Not particularly.
Because that's the only interesting bit of news that we have.
Time well wasted then. We should talk to the other group.
Agreed.
I guess I'll lead over there. I'll walk over and just say hello and noticed you are a group of fellow factors. Care to share some stories and a drink with us?
As you stiffly walk over and make your introduction, they all recoil from your wetness and say, "By the stars themselves, what has happened to you, you great beast of a wet giant?"
I took a bath.
Petalin pops up from behind him, like at his hip. We did too.
It's a bloody fucking circus. Okay, what? Okay, what? Yeah, grab a table, pull it up. Fine. The other three just kind of grumble, and they put away the dice and dominoes that they were playing with.
Yeah, I'll just grab a nearby table with one arm and just pull it pretty easily over, just mumbling,
Yeah.
"Nice fellows," under my breath as I do so.
Mm-hmm. Madam Beldam, are you joining in on this?
Yeah, I'm gonna just watch the group.
So you pull in a table nearby, having to pass up the closest one because occupying it is the comatose egg.
Sure.
So you pull your table up to theirs and merge the two. They kind of scoot the bench so that it's shared between the two tables. And they say, "Now, mind you, we don't mind your company, but if you want any of this feast, you'll be paying for it yourselves."
No feast necessary, but how about a few refreshments, and then I'll call over the bar.
The barmaid.
Yeah, I was gonna say wench, but I couldn't think of a better word.
Yeah. The girl comes over and says, "More drinks for the table?"
I'll just say yes, please.
And any additional foodstuffs, or will this be enough?
For me, I'm fine. That'll be enough.
Just the drinks, thank you. And enough for everyone. I'll hand her 2 gold pieces.
Okay. All right, she'll bring over a cask of ale. A couple of casks of ale.
Okay, cool. So after we all have full cups, I guess I'll just ask them, so where do you guys hail from?
They say, we're far from here, stranger, but certainly don't call this place home.
Us as well. We're not from around here either.
And they look at you, and they look at Udinar, and they look at Lavinia, and they say, we could have guessed.
Yeah.
Make a perception check for me.
Everyone at the table?
Yeah, anybody at the table.
Yeah, I'm just making sure it's okay.
Okay.
Did I
Udinar.
actually fucking like turn blind this session? Like,
I think so. All right. Udinar,
Mm-hmm.
you keenly notice as you're surveying the 4 at the table that one of them has a golden hilted dagger with a jewel, a red circle or red spherical jewel on the very end of the pommel. And within that is a familiar sigil belonging to what you believe the House of Scales. The gentleman seems to notice you eyeballing him and quickly tucks the end of the dagger back underneath his cloak.
I just kind of move my gaze from his dagger to his eyes and just give him a kind of like grin.
Says, so not from around here, huh?
Indeed not, I just say back to him.
Well, you had said you wanted to share stories. What stories do you have?
Well, fellow factors, as yourselves, just seeing what your latest score is, and I don't know, maybe getting some tips on some jobs?
No luck since landing, and even fewer leads. The damn woods to the east and the dead rising are quite a sore spot for us, as it seems.
Yeah. That dead rising. Do you know much about the Death Singer?
A few rumors here and there. We had come to see if perhaps we could score a relic that it's purported to carry, but we haven't been able to find the bastard since landing.
Yeah.
Though
Seems
the
to
way the
become a
folks
problem.
speak, the way the folks around here speak of it with such reverence, we begin to think that perhaps it wouldn't have been such a good idea to interfere with a local legend.
Well, I would say the Death Singer is more than a local legend.
As again, we're not from here. We wouldn't know. No such tales have reached us where we hail from.
Where you hail
Where
from
do you
has never
hail
heard
from?
of the Darlings?
Far from here, little miss. And the Darlings, of course. Who hasn't heard of the Darlings?
I just kind of smile at him. Indeed.
You know, rumor has it they're active again.
Where does rumor say they are currently residing?
A land far to the west of here. Several weeks by ship, if you can find a captain brave enough to cross the sea.
I look over to the drunk and say, I think we might have one. The drunk egg just passed
Yeah.
out.
They eyeball your comatose friend and say, indeed, bravery.
It shows up in all forms.
Mhm. And yourselves, any scores or noteworthy rumors or leads of late?
well, if you're interested in some work, village south of here seem to have a hag problem. She's said to carry a relic of some power.
Interesting. We could certainly be bothered to make our way. Do you know the way to the village south?
We do not, but we hear tell it's called Creekside.
I suppose we can ask around.
It should be part of the 3 village area that most villagers here should know about.
Fair enough. Well, we appreciate the lead. We're sorry we don't have anything else to offer you. One of the other guys speaks up and says, well, Captain, if you don't mind, the guy who's been talking, the guy with the dagger cuts him a glare and says, very well. So the younger gentleman speaks up and he says, now, if you're headed east to hear it all, you best take some medicinals with you. There's a mighty powerful plague effect in those woods. Everything rotten or dying or worse. And if it ain't already dead, it'll probably try and get you too.
Thanks for the tip.
Of course.
What?
And one of the other guys sitting there is, got a much longer beard, a little bit of gray in it, and he says, "And mind the damn horse." And at which the captain, you hear a scuffle and can assume that he's kicked him under the table.
What horse?
And the captain says, "Pay no mind to that old man. He's well into his cups by now."
We have a saying where I'm from.
I'm sure you have many.
Which is, be wary of an old man in a profession where men die young.
He says, it's good advice. West over there has seen many, many summers and somehow survived them all. We just consider him lucky.
Well, we might take his advice, whatever it means. Luck isn't something that travels with us.
Well, luck comes in more than one form, little one.
Do any of you happen to know when this plague to the east started?
It's been here since before we arrived.
How long have you been staying in Treetop?
A couple of weeks.
You happen to know about this ward that's so powerful the city doesn't have to worry?
There's no city around here, but if you're talking about the village ward...
Sorry, the village, yeah.
We haven't been permitted access to see it, despite several requests of the village chief. He seems to be a secretive fellow.
Indeed.
Yes, that's what we thought too.
We thought we might try our hand at asking the local guard or one of the village elders, but they seemed to be even less forthcoming, always referring us to the damn chief, the squat little halfling.
Have you tried perhaps giving him an incentive in the form of a gift?
If you're suggesting a bribe, what are you exactly? Don't answer the question. If you're suggesting a bribe, don't think we haven't tried. We have many means of persuading those in positions of power to assist us when needed, and they simply don't seem to have any effect on the chief. No, that's one wall we think is unbreakable at this point. Best not to siege it.
Interesting. Well, it is getting late and we have an early start, so I am going to start heading to bed.
Okay. Well, we wish you all safe travels and a fair night.
You
Thanks
as well.
for the stories.
I
Thanks
have
for the
one more
company.
question for you. In
Yeah.
in your travels, have you ever come across or heard tell of Glitterstone?
They all look at one another, and look back at you, and the captain shakes his head. He says, "No, I'm afraid I haven't."
Oh, pity. We were hoping that when our business here is concluded, we might travel there next, but we don't know the way.
Well, if you have any inclination of the direction, then maybe we could help you out. But no, I can't say we've ever heard the name Glitterstone.
Well, we appreciate your time. Always a pleasure to spend an evening with fellow factors.
You don't believe them, Matabellum.
Okay.
There was a thick layer of bullshit over that last couple of statements.
All right. Good night, fair travels, and I walk away.
Okay. So you guys retire to your room for the evening?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's say you sit down for the evening or sit down for the night.
We do not
Con-
trust anyone in here, though.
Okay.
So
Agreed.
even though we're in an inn, I mean, eggs fine on the floor.
Well, I'm wondering if we shouldn't try to go to Egg's suite and just take his valuables and put it in the hole for him, because he's gonna get robbed in the middle of the night for sure.
I don't know if he didn't go up to his room.
Well, no, but I mean, if we just go with the innkeeper when they take him up there.
Oh, Udnar can pick him up with one hand. Like,
Well, then fine. We should just go ask the innkeeper to be taken to Egg's room, or pick Egg up ourselves and take him to our room ourselves.
So somebody's gonna head back to the bar, re-egg.
I have the hole. I'll go do it.
Okay. Petalin, as you head back down to the bar and arrive, you notice that it is actually largely cleared out in the time it took you to go up to the room, have a short conversation, and come back. Only the 4 men at the center table remain, along with the barkeep and the barmaid. You notice that Egg is missing from his table.
I'll go over to the bartender and be like, "Well, thank you for taking care of our friend. I see that he's off to his room."
He's got a rag stuffed in a mug. He says, I figured that would happen once he paid for what he paid for and was foolish enough to drink it, but he'll be out like a light until the morning. And then if he's got a head left, it'll be aching.
Would you be so kind as to take me to his suite as well? Man owes me some money, and I think I'll pick his pocket while he's asleep.
I don't think that kind of behavior ought to be happening under my inn, miss. I'm afraid I'm going to have to deny that request.
Well, can I at least go and see that he's put to bed well? You can come with me.
He sighs. He says, I can't. I'll send the girl with you. I've
Thank
got to
you.
keep an eye on these 4. He calls over the girl. She comes over, curtsies and says, Da says that I'm supposed to take you to the suite.
If you don't mind.
So she has you come with her, and she actually leads you down into what looks like a small cellar with several doors, and she opens one of them, and it opens up into like a very fine room built into the tree itself, much like the baths, but now just a bedroom. It's got a large king size bed, like well beyond what a village should have. Large chest in the center, a fine animal skin rug, and even has like a built-in stone fireplace with a low fire burning. You can see Egg is sprawled across the mattress on top of the covers, and somebody has taken the liberty of stripping him down to his small clothes or underclothes if he has any. And
Is his stuff anywhere?
Yeah, it's all. I mean, it's within the chest at the foot of the bed.
Can I open the chest and just see that it's all in there?
Right, you wouldn't know that if you hadn't opened the chest.
Okay. Well, I haven't opened it.
Well, I assumed that you had, so.
Oh, have I? Okay. than I
Well, I knew you were gonna look for his stuff, so
Well, I was gonna look for his stuff.
Yeah, I was skipping all of that and
Okay.
letting you know that his stuff is in the chest at the foot of the bed. And the
Okay.
girl says, "Now, I brought you down here, and I even let you look, but you didn't pay to stay here, so I really, really had to ask you to leave."
I pull one of the last gold coins out of my pocket, and I'm like, "Could I stay here now?
She says, "I'm afraid not, miss.
You wouldn't have to tell your dad."
I'm afraid not, miss.
Well,
Not
can
f-
I?
Not for a gold coin."
Well, what would it take?
So, well, I don't accept bribes.
Well, can I at least have a moment of privacy so I can get a blanket over him?
Says, "Miss, I heard you talking to my dad and talking about pickpocketing. No, I can't leave you alone in the room."
Fine. Does this room have a lock on it? I want to make sure that nobody else comes in to pickpocket him while he still owes me the money.
Well, it does have a lock, but he'd have to lock it, and since he's passed out, I'm afraid we can only lock it from the outside, in which case he can't get out, so it seems like it would be a personal problem. And we don't exactly want to bust a door in the morning.
Fine. I'll go with you. I will not attempt to pick his pockets in the night. You have my word.
Very well, miss.
All right. So I'll go with her
Yep.
and I head back to our room.
Okay. So you arrive back.
Well, I know where Egg is. I know where his stuff is, but the room is not locked. So one of you will have to sneak down and get his stuff if we want to take it, because they do not trust me. And I'll explain to them where all the room is and everything is like that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that, so I don't care where his stuff is.
Okay, so let's start a long rest then. Sounds like.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll have the discussion about they're obviously with the House of Scales, with the insignia and blah blah blah. So
Which
Yeah.
means they probably know about Glitterstone and they're just flat out lying to us.
yeah. I'm not particularly worried about us tonight here, because it would be foolish of them to start something in town, but this is definitely something we need to discuss with Egg when he is of his wits tomorrow.
He's conscious.
Yes. Maybe we should
Still
handle the
untrusting
drinking
of the
problem.
atmosphere.
Sorry?
Who?
I'm still
Madam.
not trusting anyone in this inn.
I got a really weird vibe off of Leah and Tulip. They strike me as the kind to rob you blind while they smile to your face.
Well,
But yeah, all right.
perhaps they will rob me blind then, but at least I will be well rested afterwards, and I'm just gonna lay in the hay cot.
Okay.
Does our door lock
Yeah.
from the inside?
Yep.
All right,
Has
I'm
a-
gonna
has
lock
a
it.
bolt on it.
I'm gonna lock it and then go to bed.
Okay.
Yeah, what do I have on my person even? I don't have my fucking dagger.
Do you want it? I have the hole right here.
Do we have daggers in there?
Well, you put all of your stuff in here, so I would assume
Chance
there's
Corpse
daggers
had
in
two
there.
daggers.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna get a dagger out of the hole.
Okay.
Cast Tiny Servant on it.
Okay.
Oh, tiny servant.
My favorite spell.
It's pretty good.
And I'm going to set it up on guard duty.
Okay.
If it notices, is there a window in the room?
Yes.
If anyone enters the room through the window or the door, to wake me up immediately.
Okay.
Um, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to give it the giant's wallet.
Okay.
So it can dump the rock out on somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I'm going to place it. I guess, is there, like, what kind of window frame is it?
Just like a rectangle.
Would there be room to put it up top?
Like above the window?
Mm-hmm.
I guess. I don't know how you're gonna affix it up there.
Yeah, I don't want to stab him in, because then how is he going to wake me up? What's underneath the window?
Like a small table.
All right.
Don't we
I'm gonna-
have a string with like a bell or something like that from chain stuff? Like in his,
Probably.
Do we?
because we could probably rig something up across the window, the string and the bell. I feel like sorry, I'm looking through the
Yeah, I'm looking too.
inventory doc.
Hat no longer cool.
And actually no hat either, because all of the stuff that was
Oh, right, because it disappeared.
yeah.
Would it be in his thieves' tools?
No.
No?
I think it was in like his burglar's pack or something.
Because we had that discussion where we were like trying to set up something with the rope and the string and
Yeah.
the bell.
Yeah.
A burglar pack does have a bell in it. And 10 feet of string.
Yeah. So
So you guys are gonna try and rig up a sort of alarm.
Udinar has fallen
Mhm.
asleep.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah. We'll rig the... How wide is the room across?
I don't know, let's say 15 by 15.
Okay. I guess we'll rig up the bell to the door. And then for the window, I am gonna stab in the tiny servant into the wall, holding the giant's wallet, ready to open it and drop the rock. And give
Okay.
him instructions if anyone climbs in through the window or you sense anyone coming in through the door to open the giant's wallet and drop the rock inside. And I'll move the little table out of the way as to not break that.
Okay. All right. Is everybody going to sleep then?
yes.
I guess anything valuable we didn't already put into the hole.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
And you're all dead. That's what that dice roll meant.
Why? Why is there so many?
It sounds like ice, and it's refreshing sounding.
So yes, everybody's going to bed. Anybody else doing anything?
I'll put some more charges into the ring before going to sleep.
Well, how much are you going to dump in there? You got, I think, all of your spells but one.
Have you even like spent time concentrating on it, like looking at it after you've dumped all these spells in there?
Nope.
I mean, how do
I'll
you
do
know if it's changed at all?
We'll find out eventually.
It's not just
I'll-
gonna tell you.
I'll dump in one more third level.
Okay.
Another second level.
Okay. You can dump all your spells that you haven't cast if you want to just empty your spells.
Don't want to risk it. And dump 2 more level 1s.
Okay.
I'm what, at 42?
43.
I don't know. I guess I have time. I'll cast fucking Identify as a ritual on that.
Okay. It is a magic ring that tells you the direction of true north and seems to hunger for magic. It seems to be not as hungry as it once was. In fact, the Identify spell lets you know that it feels as though it is perhaps close to sated.
Hmm. Fuck, do I want to risk it? You know what? Fuck it. Another third level.
Okay.
And that's what, 46 at that point?
Yeah.
And 2 more second levels. That'll bring it to 50.
Okay.
And then I'll identify one more time.
Sure. The Identify spell reveals to you that the ring's effect seems to have been activated. As you probe it with the Identify spell, you find a blank slate of magic, as though it is awaiting for its effect to be imprinted.
Hmm.
You no longer seem to know the direction of north.
No!
You
That was the best part.
Well,
Is it like waiting for an imprint now, or can it hold off?
I don't know.
Motherfucker. I really like that north part. I'll hold off.
Okay.
And go to bed.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna call 10 minutes here. All right. I gotta feed the dogs and do some other things, and then when we come back, we will resume at the long rest start.
Mm-hmm.
Okie dokie.
So we'll call it 13.